Hello, 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 everybody. I'm Angela McCrae, and this is Uncorked and Cultured. If this is your first time, welcome. And if it's not, welcome back. Either way, I just want to thank you for joining me today because I feel like this is going to be an interesting conversation. I have an interesting woman that's joining me today who's full of so much knowledge that she wants to impart on us. And I just want to kind of do a quick little quiz. So if you're there with me, let's tell me if you recognize any of these names. Charlie Sifford, Tiger Woods, Renee Powell, Cameron Champ. Do you recognize these names? If you do, hit me up in the chat box. I'm live right now on Facebook as well as YouTube. Let me know if you know any of those names. Because you probably won't know them unless you're a super golf fan, which, don't feel too bad because the only name I recognized was Tiger Woods. But today, our special guest, she knows them all. Hello, Latoya. How are you? You with me? Can you hear me?
I am good. How are you?
We're doing great. Yes, I can hear you now.
I can hear you.
Perfect. It seems like we may have a bad connection. However, we're going to get through this, because today, since you know all about golf, we're going to we want you to give us the tea on golfing while black, because, wine plays a huge part in golf culture and leisure, right?
Absolutely. All alcohol does.
I know that's right. So if you're watching us live, hit us up. Let us know what it is where you at in your golf game. How many of you guys out there are golf players, avid golf players, or if you've even hit the green since COVID? I want you to share your experiences, any questions you may have for LJ in the comments. Fair enough? Okay, it looks like we're looking for more people to join us right now, but I feel as though, we have a lot to talk about. So in the meantime, I think we should kind of like talk about the wine, right? So today I decided to uncork a new special wine, which is not a part of the normal Bosé collection. Most of my wines usually focus on the John Charles Bosé collection. But this time I'm going to do something a little different because we're doing things black, since we're talking about golfing while black. So today we're going to uncork the 2018 Sauvignon Blanc from the Black-owned McBride Sisters line. I'm so excited for this. But Toya, LJ, before we get to that, can you tell us who this is in the picture with you?
Yeah, so that is at a golf event, Cat Williams and the other young guy from The Wire, whose name I can never remember. We were in a tournament. I think the organization was TF, and it was at Seaview out in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Like, Williams is an amazing, phenomenal, and it was just fun. And he's not like a comedian all the time, so he's like, don't be out here thinking I'm gonna tell jokes. But it was fun to play with him because he was just so good. And the other guy, he never played, so he was learning.
Oh, so he was learning. So were you able to help him with his game a little bit? Oh, it sounds like I lost you a bit. If you guys are watching this live, please let us know if you can hear us, because it seems like we may be having.
Like he had some woman out there being his caddy.
Oh, is that right, Cat Williams?
Yeah.
He had a woman out there as his caddy, huh? Nice. So I'm just going to throw here. So Latoya, I want you to give us a little bit, let us know, because I want to put up your social media. So anybody out there that's interested in learning more about the N18, please be sure to follow Latoya on Instagram. I feel like we're having technical difficulties right now. I'm trying to go back and forth between the live and the stream, and it seems like we might be having some technical difficulties. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I think we should just kind of go with it, so we can kind of get the most out of this experience. As much as I love, drinking wine by myself, I love it better, with having someone like yourself with me. So, do you have your glass handy? Ready.
Delayed, but ready.
Delayed, but ready. So we have our McBride Sisters 2018 Sauvignon Blanc, which is from the Marlborough region of New Zealand. Let's crack it open and pour and make our first pour.
Can I crack it open? Yes.
It's not a cork, so it's an easy screw. It's a twist off. So that's perfect for a day at the picnic, a day outside of the park.
Those are better for the golfers.
So let me know once you're ready. Okay, perfect. So first I want to kind of give us a little bit of insight of the wine, right? Because this is a Sauvignon Blanc, which is something that I don't think I've tasted on Uncorked and Cultured as of yet. How good is your French, Latoya?
Oui. That's it.
Okay, well, mine is pretty darn bad. So you probably had me beat. But I'm going to give it a try. Tu parles en français?
Oui.
Okay, so this one, so pretty much what that is supposed to mean is, how good is your French? I'm assuming. So sauvage is the French word for wild, and blanc is the French word for white. So therefore, Sauvignon Blanc translates to wild white. So guess what? I think we're having a glass of some wild white tonight.
Yes. I drank.
You drink some?
The delay is making me look like a lush.
Don't worry, no judgment here. I'm going to put the full screen up because this is a beautiful picture of the McBride sisters. And for anybody who doesn't know, the sisters actually, they didn't grow up together. Actually, one actually grew up in California and the other in New Zealand. So they have this kind of like interesting story where they came together later in life. But they shared the same passion of wine together, growing up in two flourishing wine regions in the opposite sides of the globe. So they've, crafted their signature style to really show the blend of their, the elegance of the new world as well as the old world. And I think most people know them for their most recent collection, which is the Black Girl Magic collection. Have you had a chance to try that yet?
I have not tried. I had Chican. They were serving it at Red Rooster, and they were doing like a promotion, and their canned wine I tried.
How was it?
It was good. I mean, it was in a can, so I really didn't have high expectations. It was good.
I love it. Well, I want to give us a little bit of tech notes here of what we can expect in this particular wine. It is a 100% Sauvignon Blanc. Okay, like I mentioned earlier, it's from the New Zealand region. It pairs well with citrus, seafood, herbs like basil, fennel, dill, and of course, white wine always goes really good with poultry, like chicken or turkey. This particular wine was fermented and aged in stainless steel, which kind of gives it its unique flavors and profile. And it actually has 13% alcohol content, which I think is always important to know how much alcohol I'm drinking in each glass.
I like that.
So I don't see anybody logged in and commenting. So I'm assuming there might be some issues with our technology here. So sorry if you guys are commenting, if you guys are live with us and you are reaching out and sharing your story with us. Unfortunately, we cannot see right now through the platform. So apologies. So LJ, tell me, what do you see when you look at the wine?
So I don't know much, but it's nice and clear.
Nice and clear.
And
yes.
It's so bright. Yeah.
It's interesting because we both have the same exact wine because we bought it together
Really?
after our fun day that we're going to talk about later in the segment. But the lighting definitely makes a big difference on how we actually can see the color. So tell me, what do you smell?
Yeah. Smell fruit. I don't think I smell peach or something. Like an apricotish. I don't know what apricots really smell like, but maybe it's like a peach. Oh, I like your notes. It is pale. That's true.
I also said it smells like a grapefruit, a little bit of grapefruit. I do smell peach.
I smell peach. I smell citrus.
Yes, absolutely. I went with a little nectarine there as well, which grapefruit, to me, definitely. I feel like a nectarine is kind of like
this candle.
I feel like a nectarine is a cousin of apricots as well as peaches. Okay, so I think we're ready for our first sip. I think you've been over there sipping though, but I'm going to join you in having my first sip.
Girl, I don't already. I've had 3 sips. Oh. I'm sorry. Delayed.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So this one to me is really light, super light, lighter than what I would expect actually.
I like it.
Sauvignon Blanc is definitely a crisp and refreshing wine.
Grapefruit a lot.
Actually. Yes, I like grapefruit. Definitely gives you that citrus finish on the tongue. Now, this particular Sauvignon Blanc grape is a green-skinned grape that's from the Bordeaux region of France. It's actually one of New Zealand's most widely planted variety, Sauvignon Blanc. And the primary flavors are lime, green apple, passion fruit, white peach, which are some of the flavors that we have talked about in when we smelled the wine, as well as when we, as far as the wine on the nose, as well as when we taste it on the palate. Its acidity level is actually pretty medium to high. So depending on what your preferences are, this would be a perfect summer wine on a balcony.
I actually like this. I like this. I would have this sitting by a pool. I would have this on the beach. I would have this on the golf course. And yeah, it's nice. It's crisp. I like crisp wines.
Yes, me too, for sure. Okay, so let's see here. So I kind of went through this. I just want to make sure I'm going through all my notes properly. We went through what we taste. And so once again, I just want everybody to follow you. Anyone that's watching live, if you have your phone out, please be sure to follow LJ. because we had an amazing time. We had an amazing time. So let me just give a little bit of backstory to you, LJ, because I didn't get a chance to do it at the beginning. So while you drink your wine, I'm going to introduce LJ. Okay. Latoya, aka LJ Finney, is a golf curator, blazing new trails in the world of golf. Her passion for the sport has led her from away from your 20-year career in technology project management, where you founded Black Jules Ladies Golf Association, an organization that she deemed necessary after noticing the lack of women, and especially women of color on the green. She also went on to create Finer Life Golf Foundation to introduce Black and Brown New York City youth
I'm
to
a
the
co-founder,
sport.
though.
Oh, co-founder. Okay. Who did you co-found it with?
Rashina Wilson. That was cool.
How did you guys meet? How did you guys come up with this organization to be founders together?
I mean, we were both. It was amazing. It was amazing. So we knew each other from college, and she's a little bit older than me. Same school, and we were catching up, and she was on her way to buy a golf club, and we were at Burberry. And so I've told this story, and I'm like, "Why are you buying a Burberry golf?" Play golf. I was like, I want to learn to play golf. And then we just started talking more and more. And we're like, let's find more people like us to play. And there weren't a lot of people. So that's how Jules got started. Because we saw the need that we wanted to fill, and we were there. Our life golf was a little different because I realized that children just didn't have the opportunity to get access. And so I really wanted to be impactful in that space and give free access to golf in the community where the kids were. And so that is the birth of Finer Life Golf. And it's still there to just be a pipeline to get into the game. Like, the exposed don't have the opportunity to see it. And so that is a 501c3, and it's been around for about 10 years now.
Wow, congratulations. I mean, what has been some of your most satisfying moments with being a part of that organization?
Seeing the kids show up at the place, show up, they were still there, and they would ask us and hold us accountable. Like, Miss Golf Lady, you didn't show up. And that's how it's like.
Miss Golf Lady, huh? That's what they called you, Miss Golf Lady?
It was 80 degrees, 120 degrees on Friday, and so we couldn't come, but yeah.
So that's wonderful. So the kids led you to create your Instagram handle, which is Miss Golf Lady. Or Miss Lady Loves Golf, rather. So that's kind of cool with how, sometimes your
play on it, yeah. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, one of the things that I was excited about is that last week I had my first golfing experience with you. And that was a big deal for me because, you hear about golf, I've never really necessarily been interested in it because when I used to walk around and do exercises near a golf, at a golf course, I never saw people that look like me on the golf course. So it never really appealed to me. So when when we were connected through Darius, I definitely felt like it would be a good way to expose more Black people to golfing. And I know last week we went to Turtle Cove, which is a driving range right here in the Bronx, right not too far in the Bronx, near City Island, on a scorching hot day that just happened to be the anniversary of hip hop. So what a fitting way to be in the Bronx, the birthplace of hip hop, And we had quite a
wasn't Bronx.
Yes. And I think we had quite an adventure. So I want to share a bit about that adventure with some of the people by, just providing some of the clips so people can actually see what we did. So can you just kind of talk about what this experience was like for us?
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping you what it's like to just start getting into the game. Like, the driving range is where people go before you go onto the course. And it's a good way for you to practice, to have a good time. So, and I was carrying a bag on my back. I don't usually walk at the course, but I have a lightweight bag, so it's easy to get around. The clubs aren't super heavy, but you really just have to have extra weight if you don't need to. We were going to get balls, so you go to the driving range, you'll get a bucket of balls and you'll hit them in practice, and you can get a large bucket or a small bucket. And the guys next to us, they were, I don't know where they were, but same thing. They're out there just trying to hit some balls and, learn the game a little way to practice. So we got about 180, I think, balls. We had a lot. We had enough.
Mm-hmm.
And the fun part about being at the ranges, you get to practice each of your with each of your clubs, and you really get a chance to just stretch and work out all the kinks before you go out onto the course. And start interacting with others on the course.
Exactly. And that was actually a really good example of like a segue, because while we were there was a young man who was there teaching young kids, introducing them to the sport. So that was something fun that I felt like was a connection point for me, because there were these young boys. They had to be between the ages of like 7 and 12, literally on the green for the first time. And they were right next to us, and they really had energy. I felt like it made me feel like it was a community. I really felt like we were truly golfing while Black. Could you tell us a bit about?
And they trust me, they were watching us.
Of course, because we were ladies, right there next to them. We could be showing them some love. We got a chance to talk to them a bit. Can you tell us about your company and how you started in 2018?
Yeah. So I was a project manager in technology, and I felt like my soft skills is what really helped me accelerate and advance my career. How I was being able to network and talk to people and really build relationships and focus on like things that people weren't necessarily teaching. And it was hard to explain it. So anything was my opportunity to step away from project management, technology, finance, and Wall Street, and focus on helping other people leverage those skills for career advancement, for networking, for just overall being a more present employee, but to be able to advance yourself. And having that confidence works in whether you're an entrepreneur, whether or not you're trying to interact with your manager or senior C-level C-suite employees, and just being able to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And golf forces you to do that. Like the moment you go out and play with strangers, you're spending 5 hours with them, and 18 is the birth. Like it is for me to birth something that is representative of how my career grew.
Wow. What was the pivotal point on the green when you were like, okay, this is for me. I want to immerse myself in this?
It happened a few times. So I would be out on the course and people would say, you're so good at this, you do this all the time. And you're so nice. It's so great talking to you. And I just realized every time I left the golf course, I made a new connection. I had a new relationship. I exchanged information. Now it's on me to follow up, and it's on, for me to take my own advice and always stay connected. But I realized that that is one of the things I enjoyed, and I want other people to take away from it. The other point that helped was someone told me that they had taken golf lessons, changed their life, and it didn't make their career better. And the men still didn't talk to her. And I was like, yeah, because you're not using it. You're on the game. The game is a skill. Navigating is a soft skill. Learning the game of golf is like learning how to be a CPA or learning, a technical skill. But learning how to talk to people, how to interact, how to be present, how to be patient, and how to not to be self-centered and self-absorbed is hard. And when you take that on the course and you do that on the course, you can take that back into the office and be that kind of employee.
So I have this picture up of you. Looks like you're on a course with a white couple, and you look like the only woman of color on the course. Can you tell us a little bit about what that experience has been like for you, like navigating as a woman of color, as a Black woman specifically on the course?
Yeah, you know what? So that story is probably the ultimate golfing while Black moment. That was me in Scotland with the women's golf group that I play with, which is predominantly white women. And I remember thinking, I'll never get to Scotland on my own. So why wouldn't I do this? You take being the only person and like put it in your back pocket and say, but I'm a golfer first.
Mm-hmm.
And like
Mm-hmm.
you realize that people are putting you in a box because it makes them comfortable because they're not ready. So when I get out there, Miss Black golfer female, and I still play just as well as you or better, you want to know what my story is. Did you play when you were in college? No, I didn't. I just learned how to play. I've just been playing for a few years, and someone else has been playing since they were like 5.
Wow.
And the reality is sometimes we catch up with people and we're working twice as hard to get there. It's not any different on the golf course. There are many people that have grown up golf, and that's the difference in our story sometimes. But that particular photo is us in Scotland, and it was 6 days of golfing with these women, and it wasn't being a Black woman there. I think the biggest challenge would have been one, having a roommate that may not have ever had to be roommates with a Black woman. So I was mentally prepared for the conversation around why I'm not going to wash my hair today. So like I was mentally prepared for going back to college 101 because you really don't know what other people experience. But I think we're so conditioned at this point that I don't even know if I think about it anymore.
Wow, that's real though. I mean, I went to a historically Black college, so when it comes to those type of dynamics, like I've never had a room with a white woman. You know, I've shared a house with a white woman. You know, where we had our own separate floors, but you know, being that close, that intimate for 6 days, I'm sure was a big learning curve for you. What would you kind of, you know, what are some suggestions that you have for someone like myself who lives, you know, in this world where they've only been around predominantly Black people and may feel a little bit intimidated walking on a golf course, being the only Black woman or Black man? What do you think is usually the best approach to kind of prepare themselves to kind of disrupt the status quo on a green?
That's a great question. So one thing first, it wasn't me needing to kind of it was her needing to get adjusted because I've been surrounded by people my whole life. So it's not, I think a woman of color, we've kind of all learned how to fit and navigate spaces. Now in this turn, it's me being who I am authentically in my space, sharing a room with someone and just being open to the conversation. Like if you have a question, don't ask. But as for people going to the course and being of color, I think what's important is to know the basics of the game. Like know what the rules are so that you don't feel like you stand out. But when you're going to the course, you're not a Black golfer. You're a golfer because you learn the game like everyone else. You're there to play the game just like everyone else. And our Blackness doesn't define whether or not we belong in a place. We belong anywhere we pay our money and go.
Absolutely.
So you learning it, the key is just learn some of the basics so that we step on the continent in your time there. And that's probably the most important part. Being confident with the information you do, owning it.
I love that. Being confident with the information you have and owning it. I love that.
Hold on.
You got to catch up. Yes, girl, catch up. So yeah, I love that you said that, you know, being confident with the information we know and owning it. And I know that, you know, I'm sure there's some, you know, mouth dropping statistics out there when it comes to the, you know, racial disparities in the industry of golf, right? I mean, that's why Tiger Woods is so acclaimed, you know, and because he's like kind of like an outlier, but he's also a representation of what you just mentioned, you know, he learned at a very young age, you know, golf was his life. Majority of his life. But you know, most of us, we don't have, you know,
that because
yes, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, girl. Let's go there.
So if you want to talk about the Tiger Woods effect, Tiger Woods is single-handedly the only reason I was attracted to the game. Like, he was a phenomenon, and I sought out the game more because of him. Otherwise, I didn't really look at it much. But he was this prominent, he was in college. I think he was like right out of Stanford at that time. And he was just blowing up. He was a household name in our community. And my uncle would be putting in his living room. So my uncle didn't really play golf. My Uncle Howard, he would just be in his living room with a putting cup. And we were a little kid and we would putt. but he never went out to play. And Tiger Woods came and he was just, winning all of these different tournaments. My uncle made sure that we watched it and said, "Do you know about this black golfer? He's gonna be good." We were like, "Okay, so what?" But then the more we started to pay attention, see him there. And the problem with the golf industry, and they know this and they don't care, it's like, someone's phenomenal. You know that their presence is bringing attention to the game. And you know that single-handedly his participation has increased of people of color. Like irrefutable fact. As well as other people who saw him and just wanted to play as well. Whether or not they saw him and saw a black man playing and like, I want to play too, because if he could do that, I can do that. But for the reason, it was an opportunity. So here we are, almost 20 years later. It's 2020, Black Lives Matter. You look at the diaspora of who's playing. There are Black golf clubs. There are Black people playing. And within that community in golf, like I've created a lot of relationships and friends on the golf course, and they exist there and they thrive there. They just totally exist there. You look at the golf industry. I went to a online virtual panel that the PGA did. It was still equally as white as before. You're telling me that for all the panelists, they one person of color to just be there. Even they care, like they don't even care about that. Like they don't even want to do that because they pick like golf pros that and clubs or in places. There are at least 3 Black golf pros that I know that run clubs. Why weren't they selected? And so I think that it's possible for someone that never valued diversity to all of a sudden wake up and call attention to it. And for the Black people that are there, it is a problem when you're in these environments and can't use your authentic voice. You don't just wake up and all of a sudden start using it. That means that you're already scared to use it. So now you have to find people that can walk in there and be their authentic self and just call out the things that need to change or the opportunities that is being overlooked. Black people bring a lot of style to golf. Like we're very
to everything.
In general.
Right, to everything. We're cultured.
And we like music and it's just flavor. And now we're uncorked.
Cheers.
But it's not about cheers. Look.
This delay, guys.
I might wanna.
This delay has us all messed up in the game. We can't even cheers properly.
Oh,
I'm like, how are we doing this?
I thought the delay was me drinking, but I realized it started before me drinking.
Right. Okay, so you just said a lot of things that I really wanted to kind of dig a little deeper in, right? I mean, you talk about people that are like, kind of like in the space that may have been like similar to Tiger Woods, that may have been playing golf in college or, pre-college. And it's just kind of been a way of life because that's the socioeconomic environment that they come from, right? But then someone like myself who HBCU grad, raised by a single mom, grew up in a predominantly Black community that didn't necessarily see Black golfers and until Tiger Woods, like yourself. What do you think are some of the things, what would you suggest, like as far as like people getting involved? Like we know that golf can be an expensive pastime. We know that it can require some level of basic understanding. You have to have that. What steps do you suggest for people to introduce themselves into the sport as even if it's just for leisure?
Yeah, I think social media has made everything more period. I started this company in an effort to introduce people to all of the benefits of the game and the service that I provide. The goal is to make the entry easier. Like it shouldn't be such a high barrier to entry, and it is. There, like us going to the driving range is a perfect example of you just getting a taste of the game. But let's talk about like what your goals are. If you want to start playing, there has to be some type of end trying to reach, whether it's playing with your boss or just being part of a different socioeconomic circle or just getting access, just being athletic. Whatever the thing is, we have to start a goal, and to make it, easier for people. I say social media is a great way to start getting into the communities. Black Jewels was a great way to bring people to the game, but company-wise, I realized this problem hasn't been solved. And so N18 is birthed out of that as well. It's trying to give people the holistic experience. I'm not a golf pro. I will introduce you to golf pros that you can choose that will teach you how to hit the ball 150 yards straight down the fairway. I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to teach you how to get onto the course, what to wear, how to talk to your boss, how to bring that back into the office, how to hustle people. Well, I shouldn't tell you.
Right.
I will show you how to do that. But just the overall aspect that surrounds the game, and that's what people enjoy about it.
Okay, you're a New Yorker, so yeah, you did. You're a New Yorker, so you did say that. But I see here, speaking of hustle, look at all these hustles you have, girl. You got 2 organizations. You have a podcast. You have a business. You have e-commerce. Just tell us a little bit about what we can do. Come on now. How can we support you? And tell us what what's going on.
First things first, please subscribe. Yes, please check out my podcast. Yes, please check out the podcast. Like, my goal with the podcast this first season was just to give people exposure to others that golf. And I think that sometimes we don't see ourselves. So for me, it was telling untold stories about the average person that plays golf. You have the golf industry that will focus on golfers and golf as a profession, but there are a lot of us that use golf to get into that we wouldn't have normally been invited into, and to build relationships with people that we wouldn't have normally had access to. So please check out the podcast where I talk to a lot of people that I've met on the golf course. For season 2, we're taking a different approach, and for some of those people, not the same, but new people, will be dropping gems. And the reality is, those people that I played with, they're very inspirational. They're powerhouses in what they do, and it behooved me to give the listeners an option, an opportunity to learn from them too. Because I have the benefit of playing with them. I get to learn for hours, but you don't have access to them, and that's what the goal of the podcast. Shopify store, that was designed to give the new golfer, someone like yourself, or somebody getting into game, access to all of the good goodies and tchotchkes and things that have helped me on the game on the golf course, so that you're in different stores like, oh, what do I get? Should I get that? No, let's just narrow it down and show you these are all the things that you can use when you first start playing the game. So let's just create a one-stop shop for all the used stuff. And the company, we're doing a corporate training and professional development, moving into more of an executive coaching model now because of COVID. But I'm just out here with a whole lot of, if we're going to be entrepreneurs, I need to work just as hard, if not harder, for myself than I did for someone else. And I worked hard for someone else. So
absolutely. Absolutely, you worked hard, and I'm actually very impressed with you because you come from this technology background. You felt passionate about this space, and you moved in it. And not only did you move in it, but you moved in it with force. Like I said, you have so many things that you've created, with this platform, and I just want to say thank you. And I know recently you prompted this campaign called Convos for Change. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, the Convos for Change was prompted after George Floyd. And the reality is companies really tried to capitalize on newfound support of Black lives. And I'm like, you haven't valued what happened to the other 20 years of not valuing Black lives? All of a sudden do you even know how to do that? The change was, I'm okay with us having an open conversation, like you being transparent and authentic and honest enough to know what this is. And yeah, you're right. I didn't value it before. Let's figure out how to fix it. Because being able to admit the things that you don't know and things that aren't comfortable is the only way we would move the needle forward. And I'm coming from this space because I think what happens is we've got so for myself. I would say that for all of the years that I've been on Earth, I've experienced racism, I've experienced sexism, and I've experienced it in such a way that it's
Mm.
pent up. So when somebody is willing to listen, we're like, nothing gets done that way. So Convos for Change, taking and saying, hey, you know, I'm not here to be the black picture. I mean, what is it? Wikipedia.
Right.
I'm not trying to be that. Like, that's not the goal. But the goal
The
is to have a
token.
conversation about you being right. And why do you think that that's enough? And why? And what do you want to change? And let me give you some ideas of what I see. Not seeing, but me. I always can see when I'm missing from a space. I always see the voice. If I'm here, if I see, you know, the clean way, I see when the models don't look like me and don't have my shape. I see when they don't have my hair. I see when they don't have my complexion. I see it because looking for myself in these spaces. And when I don't see it, that's when I have that Convos for Change opens is if we're gonna have a conversation about it, let's just be real. Put it out all out there. Ask me the question. Let's tell you, why are you upset? I'll tell you why. Or LJ, you know, we don't have any black people at our event. I'll tell you why. You know, it's all
Mm.
about being able to say, like, what do you see as the issue? And I'll tell you what I see. And if we, you know, might not agree, but together we can come to a conversation about how you can use your power, you being the person that's not black, can use your power. I've been using my power, like superhero status. We've got all kinds of black girl magic and mystery that we're using to get things done, and we get it done. But there are people that have
Absolutely.
access, and I'm just going to tell you now to recognize, and here's where you can apply that and create real magic. The magic will be when you give access to what you have and open your door so that I can walk through magic.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well said. Well said. And you know, talking about access, I mean, like seriously, like being in the Bronx last week and literally and walking in there, I felt like I had access. I mean, I felt like I saw so many people that looked like me in that, you know, enclave of like, you know, people that was in the driving range. So clearly that's not the norm. So how can Black people find the spaces in the golf industry
No.
to be connected with their people? Like, how do we find our people? Because I know that's an issue that it happens in all industries sometimes.
We build it. You tell your friends to get with my friends, and when we go and we take this and do this, because that's how it works. There are going to be a few people, and you're going to see them, and you're going to be like, "Hey, what's up?" Just like we spoke to those people that were standing right next to us. We're going to, if you see somebody, it's that same, "Hey, what's up? Do you play here?" Really, it's no different in that conversation when you're working in the office and you realize that there is another Black woman over there.
Mm-hmm.
It's that same energy, and we need to apply that to golf and bring people along. So I play. I'm going to the range. Hey, Andrew, you want to come? You might say, yeah, I don't really want to do it. I'm good. I'm good. Maybe let me know when you go and it's next to City Island. And I'd be like, okay, no problem. But you would have went and you'll tell someone else about it. That person will say, oh, well, let me know the next time that person may connect and say, you know, why don't we just go and like, let's see if we can get it together. Oh, that's us. So I'm telling you, I'm all about the stretching. I'm like, let's see movement, because our body does not normally move like this. And the last thing I need is for you to wake up and say, oh, my neck and my back hurt.
I'm going to be honest with you. I woke up with my
So yeah,
shoulder and my hip. It was my shoulder and my hip. Okay.
Just to start feeling the motion of swinging the club.
Yeah, and then you know, and you really did a good job with explaining to me the different clubs. I felt like that was so important, you know, just to kind of have that understanding, you know, and you did a really good job. I mean, I definitely want to go back. So are we going to set another date?
Okay. Totally. And I'm glad you know, I feel if you don't know a little bit about the clubs, then you go there and you think that you're going to hit every club the same way and it's going to have the same outcome. And I think that it's important for people to have just general understanding how this of getting on the course and managing your game. Because when you get out there with colleagues or friends, you want to kind of have a good idea of what your plan is. Like, I know I'm gonna hit this one. I know I'm not gonna hit that one. I know this one well, and I'm gonna hit it this far. And so when you're on the course, you want to be able to replicate that.
Right. And I'm honest. I'm going to be honest with you. How many times do I need to go back to the driving range before I can actually do a full 18?
Girl, yeah. So the path to success, and so that you're not miserable, is get out there and hit those clubs and feel good about hitting the 7 iron, and then go to the 9 iron, see if you can hit it, and go over to like a hybrid and see if you can hit that. And then you don't even have to hit your driver. Then we'll go over to the pitching, which is like all par 3. We'll just the pitching wedge, and then you get comfortable, and that's like a short version of a course. Then we go out to like Mashulu, which is not like you go to the driving range and then you go straight to the course. That's like trying to like run a marathon.
I have no concept. You are my gateway into this life.
You're not gonna want to do it. You'll hate the game.
You're my gateway, so I have no clue.
Build people, get them excited.
Well, I really had a good time. And I want us to do it again. And I want to encourage people to at least try it. I mean, once again, let us know what can they take away for their personal as well as their professional life on the golf course.
So like, if you're a selfish person, it's going to accentuate that. And I think that what playing the game does, it helps become more self-aware of whether or not when no one's watching, you tell the truth. It's a game of integrity. And like, people don't get it, but when you're starting to pay attention to the things you're doing you're by yourself, that's one. But then when you start paying attention to how other people are playing, that's the second part. So usually the goal for me, or what I tell other people, is once you get confident in the game enough that you're not self-conscious, then you're ready to people and play, just have a good time. And the key to not being conscious is to be there and owning what you do know and what you don't know. No, you might not hit that ball straight, but when it's good, and you will drop a ball and keep it moving, and people respect that. And so my takeaway for people is, as they're starting to get into game, social with it, start finding out who plays. Talk about it, chat it up, get on social media, follow a few people that are in your space and say, hey, anybody playing? And really start to pay attention to the game itself and how people are using it. I didn't even know that they played originally. And now that I do, I feel like, wow, okay, we need to talk about that. We need to get closer on golf, because then I can figure out like how I can help you professionally, and what can I do and who can I connect you with for my circle? Because it's not necessarily about the game for me. It's just the fact that now I have a reason and a way to talk to you. Now I can see service and help you, because I know paying it for it is a great way to live life. It just feels good.
Absolutely. Paying it forward. And, right now, because of COVID, this is a perfect way to, connect with people in a social distance environment. And of course, sip on some wine in the process, right? Because alcohol is definitely part of the golfing experience, right?
Yes, but people like Scotch whiskey for some, for many of the men. Ladies will tend to drink the wine. Men are drinking whiskey and Bloody Marys a lot. So
Does it help the game, though? That's the question. Does it help the game
right now?
Does it help the game?
I think it helps you. Maybe they think they play better. Maybe in their mind, right? Like,
and I'm sure it loosens those joints up a bit.
What does a man need?
Uh-oh, I think you're frozen.
Yeah,
You still there?
sometimes needs a little bit of liquor just to relax, and they take that onto the course sometimes.
I'm telling
I'm
you,
still here. I hear you.
I wish I would have had some wine that day. It was just too hot for us, I think, when we were in Bronx doing the driving range. But I feel like if I would have
Girl, we
had
would
some
have
wine, I
melted.
probably would have hit a lot more. I would have hit a lot more balls, because it was quite a few, quite a few that I missed.
You, you were just beginning, and it was hot. Like it was hot. It was just hot.
Thank you for
It needs
saving
to be that
my.
hot.
Thank you for saving
Um,
me and not
it was
embarrassing me
hot.
by telling me how bad I was. I appreciate that. You're so sweet.
No, you were excellent. I'm telling you, it was excellent. But so I'm thinking, the next thing we do needs to be like an uncorked and cultured golf outing. We just invite people and just sip
Ooh,
wine and social distance.
I love that. Okay, guys, if you guys want to do an uncorked and cultured
That could work.
golf
That could work.
outing, please hit me up. Hit me up. Hit me up. Because first of all, I love socializing. I love bringing people together. I think that's my specialty. I think that's I think that's one of the gifts God gave me. Clearly, you can tell the alcohol the mind starting to starting to hit me a little bit. But we had a chance to talk about McBride sisters. And now we're talking about what the first outing is going to be for Uncorked and Cultured. If you guys are in the New York area, hit me up. Let me know what's good. If you want to go golfing with me and LJ, because I'm here for it. Oh, it looks like a comment came through. Somebody said, count me in, please. Yes, I'm all about it. I will count you in for sure. Let us know. Hit me up, because, I'll bring the wine. If we can't bring our own wine, huh? On the golf course? You got to put it in your golf bag. How does that work?
We bring it. Yes. No one. Yes. Put it in the bag. In the golf bag. We just slide it in the bag. I got, I sell flasks on my website too. I got flasks. If you need a flask.
Okay, guys. So
I have
I was teasing her earlier. She said she'll teach you how to hustle through golf. There's an art form to this, but it's because she's clearly the consummate hustler. I mean, so make sure you hit her up. She has a podcast where, okay, tell us once more. What are you doing on the podcast? What are you talking about? Who's been some of your past guests?
The intersection of business, golf, and life. So one of the past guests I had was Ray Robinson, and he's on the board of American Airlines, and I love him because he's on the golf course. Like, this dude will be running like a major company, and he's just playing golf casually, like at a municipal course, or he's playing at a country club. But you'll meet a lot of interesting people, and so the podcast really just highlights and showcases some of the people that I've met over the years.
Awesome. Okay, so we're almost out of time, but I want to say thank you so much, and thank you for being patient, because we was having some technology issues at the start of this. So I know some people, I'm starting to see comments now. I don't see people's faces or names like I would like to, but I see Juanita. She said she has her her champagne, her swell bottle filled with champagne. So I'm starting to see some comments. So thank you so much for commenting, letting us know that you're there. LJ, this was amazing. And I think we might have to do a do-over with a group of people on the golf course. What do you think? In person.
All right,
socially distant.
Let's do it. I think it's going to be fun. People need to see it.
Wonderful.
To see it.
Wonderful. Well, I feel like this was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was great because, for one, I did something a little different. I mean, we merged golfing while Black, how to disrupt the green. I think that's a good topic. I think it's something we should all consider and think about, how we can disrupt spaces. Right now we're in a space where everybody's, super aware of the racial injustice that's going on here, the racial disparities, and we have to make sure that we're constantly pushing the boundaries and making sure that we're present, our voices are heard, and we're able to show up unapologetically. So for those who was able to watch that wasn't affected by the technology, I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. I never knew, the level of passion and experience and dedication that, the LJ is putting into the work with with N18, with her organizations that she's a part of. So I want to thank you, for sharing that with us, because especially when it comes to like exposing, the sport to young people, because they need those outlets. They need to know how to, channel energy in a productive way, how to communicate with each other, as well as, older people. That cross-generational boundary is something huge, especially right now. And so I appreciate, the work that you've done, and I want to support you moving forward. So just please.
Absolutely. So it's a little late, but I think for the most part, representation matters. And if I give any parting wisdom, we weren't invited into boardrooms. The golf course is like a boardroom. You're not going to be invited sometimes. You just need to show up and show up and show out. Know what you're talking about to the best of your ability. It's not even about your performance always. It's about being present. So start by being present.
Be in the room. Yep. Being in the room. That is the most important thing. I mean, I learned that in my corporate time at NBC Universal. It's just being in the room. You learn so many gems. You realize that there are a lot of allies that do want to, help. They do want to support, but they just don't know how, and people like to be in their comfort zone. So sometimes we have to make them feel uncomfortable by showing up in their places of comfort. And I really appreciate that insight. And also too, I'm excited that we were able to try this McBride Sisters wine. This is my first time trying it, this Sauvignon Blanc. And I'm not going to say I wasn't disappointed. I was not disappointed at all. I would definitely encourage you guys to check out the McBride Sister collection. I recently had their sparkling rosé and really enjoyed it. So I'm gonna try some of their other stuff. So LJ, that's it for me today. That's all for this week's Uncorked and Cultured. Catch us next time, next Wednesday, because we're here every Wednesday at 7:30. So definitely be sure to follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, follow us on YouTube, follow me on YouTube. It's like but yeah, just make sure you like the page and keep up with us, and definitely share, and
channels.
Let me know. Yes, I got channels. And let me know, who you guys want to see, any topics you want to hear. I think I did this originally to sell wine, but to be honest with you, I really like it because I get to connect with people like you, LJ, and and I just want to thank you again.
Thank you. Each one teach one. Appreciate you.
Yes. So that's all for today, guys. Please follow, share, and all that good stuff. And then, of course, get in touch with me. Let me know what's good. And feel free to DM me, reach out to me. Let me know what you want to hear once again. And have an amazing evening, and be safe out there, and drink lovely, and make sure you keep it unapologetically Black in the process. Talk to you soon.